Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bookercast, the podcast where books come to life.
And I'm so excited to dive into another amazing story with all of you.
Whether you're a bookworm or just love a good story, this is the place for you.
Every episode, we explore incredible books, talk about their stories and characters, and share insights that'll make you fall in love with reading all over again.
All right, let's not keep you waiting any longer. Get comfortable, and let's jump right into it.
Sounds good.
Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive deep again. Today, we are taking a look at Glorious Exploits. It's this novel by Ferdia Lennon.
Oh, this one's interesting.
Yeah, it's got, well, humor and adventure, but it's also got like a lot of reflection, and the backdrop is ancient Syracuse during the Peloponnesian War.
Wow, okay.
So imagine, right, you have this one-legged potter, name's Lampo,
Mm-hmm.
and he ends up putting on, staging a play by Euripides.
Okay.
But get this, he's doing it with Athenian prisoners of war.
With prisoners? Really?
Yeah, it's a pretty unique premise, and,
Yeah.
it makes you think about how different this book is from, typical historical fiction.
It definitely, it definitely seems like it challenges, I guess, like our usual image of ancient Greece.
Exactly. It's not all,
Oh.
beautiful temples and philosophers. Lennon really dives into the harsh reality of war.
Right.
You can, practically smell the suffering in those quarries where they kept the Athenian prisoners.
Yeah, I can see that.
And Lampo, our potter, he starts out, just thinking about profit. Oh, these prisoners, this is a business opportunity.
Hmm.
But as he spends more time, with Euripides' work, something changes in him, like a real transformation.
Yeah, that sounds like the core of the story, right? Like how he
Yeah.
goes from a simple craftsman to, I guess, this theatrical, impresario.
Yeah, and more than that, he becomes a leader, a lover. It's not like your typical hero's journey.
Right, it's not straightforward.
No, it's messy and full of contradictions.
Yeah.
But I think that's what makes it so interesting to read.
Definitely. And his relationship with Gelon, right? His friend who helps with the whole theater thing.
Ah, Gellon. Yeah, they have this shared ambition, and it kind of drives them both. But it also causes some serious problems.
Yeah, ambition is tricky like that. It can push you forward, but also tear things down.
Exactly. And then Lennon brings in Medea, the Euripides play, and it's like he's using it to comment on those themes, ambition, betrayal.
Oh, I see. Because Medea, it's about, betrayal and revenge and a woman who's been pushed to the edge.
Right. And it's all happening within this play, but it reflects what the characters are going through, too.
Wow, that's pretty clever.
It makes you think about the bigger context of war, too, and how it affects people.
So the play within a play, it's like a mirror to their own lives.
Yeah. And the actual performance, it becomes this incredibly powerful moment, like a mini version of the conflict outside the quarry.
That makes sense. So the prisoners, they find some purpose, right, in putting on the play. And then the Syracusans in the audience, they have to confront the fact that their enemies are, human.
Exactly. And that can be it can be dangerous, too. Challenging those perceptions in the middle of a war.
It is interesting how art, even in the worst situations, can make people connect and see things differently, even for just a little while.
Yeah, it's a reminder of how powerful storytelling is, how it can transcend boundaries, but it also shows how fragile hope can be, and how violence, it just keeps repeating.
Yeah, I get that.
And the way Lennon writes, he uses dark humor and these really vivid descriptions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you hear everything from Lampo's point of view, so you're right there with him. It's almost like you're living it yourself.
That's cool. You're really immersed in that world.
And he uses some ancient Greek terms, just enough to make it feel authentic, but
Yeah.
not overwhelming.
Right, right. So you said it's funny, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's also, he doesn't shy away from the darker stuff, the violence, the political maneuvering. But then there are these moments of, real beauty and connection. It's a great mix.
It sounds like a book that stays with you, makes you think about, big things like the meaning of war or how stories have power, even thousands of years ago.
Yeah, it definitely does. It makes you think about what it means to be human,
Yeah.
trying to find your place in a world that can be pretty chaotic.
One scene that really got to me, when Lampo sees these kids playing war
Oh, yeah.
near where there was this awful massacre,
Uh-huh.
it's really chilling, how violence can just become, I don't know, normal.
Right, even for kids.
Yeah, and it's funny in a way, but also so disturbing. These kids with, like, toy swords acting out the same battles that have, like, destroyed their world.
Yeah, it's like they're playing, but it's not a game anymore. It's
Yeah.
real life for them.
Exactly, and then they find, they find the bodies of the Athenian soldiers. It's like this sudden reality check. Life is precious, and it can be gone so fast. And these kids, they're right in the middle of it.
But there's this little bit of hope, right, with the boy, Strabo.
Strabo, yeah. He's the one who leads the prayer for the dead Athenians.
Yeah, even with all the fighting, there's still, like, empathy, compassion.
And that scene's where we meet Turian, too.
Oh, right. Storyteller guy.
Yeah, he's drawn to Lampo's play. He sees, like, something special in it.
He's kind of mysterious, isn't he?
Totally. Like a guardian of stories. He gets what Lampo and the prisoners are doing. He sees the bigger meaning.
And he helps them, too, right? Gives them resources, connections.
Yeah, but you never really know what he's thinking. What his motives are.
It's like there are these unseen forces at work behind the scenes.
Right. Like, who really has the power?
Yeah.
And how do they use it?
And then there's the journey to Hikora.
Oh, yeah, that part.
Trying to save the Athenian prisoners.
Yep.
So dangerous. And you don't even know if it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's like, is Lampo really a hero? Or is he just messing things up even more? War is complicated.
It is. It is. But you can't help but, like, root for him. He's risking everything for these men who are technically his enemies.
Right. It's like, what does loyalty even mean in this situation? Or compassion?
And that scene where he breaks into the quarry during the storm, oh my gosh.
Intense, right?
So intense. It's like you're right there with him, feeling the wind and the rain and the desperation.
Yeah, Lennon's really good at, like, putting you in the moment, making you feel it.
And then you have Lampo and Lyra, the slave girl. Their relationship adds this whole other layer to the story.
Yeah, they connect in this really human way, talking about language and stories and wanting something more than just this awful war.
It's sweet and sad, too, because you know it can't last.
Yeah, there's so much loss in this book, and when Lampo tries to buy Lyra's freedom, it's heartbreaking. He can't save her.
No, you can't. Sometimes things are just out of your control.
But then he finds that stylus in the wax tablet again.
Oh, right.
And he realizes, he can still tell their story, keep Lyra's memory alive.
It's like, even though she's gone, her story lives on. And Lampo's story, too.
It makes you think about how we use stories to make sense of things, to cope with loss. Stories connect us, even across time.
It's powerful stuff. It really got me thinking about, like, what stories do I hold on to? What do they mean to me? And that ending, right? When you find out Lampo's been telling his story to someone this whole time. Someone who's, like, writing it all down.
Yeah. It makes you think about, like, how stories get passed on and how they change along the way.
It makes you wonder, like, whose voice are we really hearing? Is it really Lampo's? Or has it been, I don't know, shaped by the person who's writing it all down?
Totally. It's like, how reliable is memory anyway? And what about, like, the stories that don't get written down? The ones that are just, passed on through talking?
Yeah, the ones that get lost.
Yeah.
But this book, it's like, it says that even those small stories, the ones that seem unimportant, they can still matter. They can have an impact.
Definitely. And that last scene with the quarry theater and all the characters coming back, even Lyra.
Oh, man, that part. It's so sad, but also, like, hopeful,
Yeah, it's bittersweet. Lampo is saying goodbye, but he's also keeping their memory alive.
Right.
Through his imagination, through the story.
It shows how the stories we tell, the memories we have, they become part of who we are.
And it makes you think about the stories we inherit, right? The ones that shape how we see the world, how we see history.
Like how much of what we believe is actually true and how much of it is just stories.
Right. And this book, Glorious Exploits, it really makes you question things. It doesn't give you easy answers.
No, it doesn't. It makes you embrace the messiness of it all, of history, of human nature.
And it reminds us that everyone's got a story, even people like Lampo who might not think their life is that interesting.
Yeah, and that those stories are worth telling and worth hearing.
That ending with Lampo and the stylus, it's powerful. Like, he's taking control of his story. He's making sure it gets told.
Even though he can't read or write himself, it's like, it doesn't matter. He finds a way.
It's about resilience. It's about finding meaning, even when things are really, really hard.
So yeah, we definitely recommend checking out Glorious Exploits. It's funny, it's exciting, and it'll make you think about, big questions. About war, about storytelling, about what it means to be human.
And about how, even thousands of years ago, People were dealing with a lot of the same things we are today. It's a story that connects us across time.
Absolutely. Thanks for diving deep with us today, and we'll see you next time.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of BookerCast. We hope you enjoyed diving into it as much as we did. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Your support means the world, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts on this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this episode with your fellow book lovers. And let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. See you in the next deep dive. Bye for now, and happy reading.